Yes. So I'll begin now. Good afternoon slash good evening to all of you. Right now, all right. So we were discussing preparation of alkanes yesterday. We'll continue that and finish remaining of the preparation. I think we had discussed Woods reaction yesterday. Woods, Fittig, and Ullmann. These we had discussed. Right. Now, similar to Woods reaction, there is one more reaction called Frankland. It is almost same as Woods. Frankland reaction. So what is, yes, good evening, those who joined recently. So what is Frankland reaction? You'll take alkyl halide like Woods reaction, two different alkyl halides or same, treated with zinc. The metal, instead of sodium, you'll use zinc and heat it. Same process, ZnX2 will be eliminated and you'll get R dash as your product, right? So this is what you'll get as alkane. So your product obtained alkane here. Now the difference here is you can prepare both odd as well as even carbon alkanes can be formed. Right? Yes, you can use two different alkyls also in this reaction, right? Now, what is the order of reactivity? In this, you can use primary, secondary, as well as tertiary. You can use all these three, whereas in Woods reaction, you cannot use tertiary alkyl halide. That was the limitation. All can be used in Frankland. Whereas in Woods, yes, we had discussed, I think in the end of the class, I had told why tertiary alkyl do not give Woods reaction. I had discussed in the end of the class. I think Dhanush, after asking yesterday's doubt, you went off. I kept explaining your doubt and you went off. So before, if you are asking any doubt at the end of the class, please stay back. Do not just ask the doubts and run away. Right? Now, this is your Frankland reaction. That's all you need to know. Now, the next important reaction you need to know is Coriolis synthesis. It will come in your next year also. Right? So next preparation from alkyl halide is Coriolis synthesis. Coriolis synthesis. So we have discussed Woods reaction. We have discussed from alkyl halide. This is our second. You can say if you don't include Ullmann. Ullmann was our, Woods was first, Ullmann was second. So let's say this is third in alkyl halide. This is fourth in alkyl halide. Coriolis synthesis. What is Coriolis synthesis? How can you prepare alkanes from Coriolis synthesis? Right? Now, what is Coriolis synthesis? See carefully. I'll write first the reaction. Reaction is when you treat alkyl halide with three reagents. The first reagent is Li in ether as solvent, lithium metal in ether as solvent. Second one is copper iodide. Third reagent is R-X. So this follows a type of reaction called substitution reaction, nucleophilic substitution reaction. We have not discussed nucleophilic substitution reaction yet, but I'll try to explain you the mechanism in this, don't worry. So what happens here is you will get R dash plus LIX plus LII plus CUX. So these are the products you will get. Now let's see how this reaction happens in multiple stages. Now, advantage, odd and even. Unlike Wood's reaction, odd and even carbon alkanes can be formed. Whereas in Wood's only even. Odd and even carbon alkanes can be formed, right? Now let's see the mechanism, how it happens. First step, Rx, in the presence of lithium, you'll take this. So what will happen is, this bond will break like this. I can show you in brief, right? So that you can either, it's not likely to show that this bond will break like this. So let's not break the bond now. So in this Rx bond, you'll take two lithium atoms. One lithium will combine with halogen to form LiX, and other lithium will combine with R to form RLi. Right? Actually, it is oxidative addition mechanism type reaction, so that we can't discuss now. Right? Now RLi you will get. In this RLi, what is special in this RLi is very important. See carefully. This, first of all, second step mein, this RLi will react with your copper to give you R2CuLi. Note down this reagent. This reagent is very important. It is known as Gilman's reagent. It's known as Gilman. It is dialkyl lithium cuprate. This is also called Gilman's reagent. It's very important for alkyl halides. Gilman's reagent, right? Now this Gilman's reagent plus Li you will get lithium iodide, right? LiX, sorry. You'll get LiX. Now this Gilman reagent, when you pass it through, when you pass this Gilman reagent through, let's say R-X. So what is the function of these reagents? We'll discuss in soon Grignard reagent also. What is the function of this alkyl group when it is bonded to metal? Alkyl groups, when bonded to metal, metal will acquire a positive charge, alkyl group will acquire a negative charge. So they will always give you R- ion, right? They will always give you R- ion, right? Now, if you see this carefully, I think I have missed iodine here. This will be iodine and this will also be iodine, right? Now, yes, what I was saying was it will give you R-. Now among halogen and carbon, halogen is more like negative. This bond will break like this. R dash plus will be attacked by R-, and this R- is coming from Gilman reagent. So what is the role of R-? What is the role of Gilman reagent? It gives you R-, which attack R dash plus to give you R bond R dash. That is your alkane. That is your alkanes, right? So in this whole process, let's say if you want to convert ethyl chloride to butane, right? So ethyl chloride to butane. So what you'll do is you'll first treat it with Li. You'll get CH3CH2Li, right? By the way, same process can also be done by using only RLi. So let me write it in short here. R2CLi, I told you, gives you R-, RMgX, RLi. Here also R is bonded to metal. So whenever R is bonded to metal, it will always give you R- ion, right? That is the role of these organometallic reagents, right? So after this, you'll convert it, let's say, using copper iodide to Gilman reagent, that is R2CuLi, CH3CH2CuLi. Now, already you have CH3CH2. You need CH3CH2 more for butane. So you will treat it with CH3 CH2Cl or iodine, whatever. So this bond will break like this. Carbon will get positive charge. The role of this is to give you CH3, CH2 minus. So this CH2, CH2 minus will attack here and you will get butane. So that is how you can use Corey-House synthesis to get any alkane from alkyl halide, right? So remember it, it is very important. Now this was your Corey-House synthesis, fourth method. Now fifth method is using Grignard reagent. So preparation of alkyl halide using alkanes using Grignard reagent. Using Grignard reagent. Now before I go to Grignard reagent, let me tell you one more thing here. Here R minus is attacking carbon having a positive charge. Therefore, this property of R minus attacking a carbon having positive charge is called nucleophilicity. So therefore, it is here acting as a nucleophile, and this nucleophile is replacing your halogen. So therefore, it is a type of nucleophilic substitution reaction. It is a type of nucleophilic substitution, only the last step, reaction. We have not discussed the different types of reaction. We'll do it probably in some of them in alkene, some of them in second year, right? So yes, and R minus also has a tendency to act as a base. Remember, R minus can act as a base as well as nucleophile. In this reaction, it was acting as a nucleophile. So I'll repeat the example again. CH3, CH2Cl. When you treat it with Li, you will get CH3, CH2Li, which when treated with CuI gives you R2CuLi. What is your R? CH3, CH2 is your R. So this is your RLi. When treated with CuI, will give you R2CuLi. What is the function of R2CuLi? It gives you R minus. So what is your R? CH3, CH2 minus. Right? Now you treat it with CH3, CH2Cl, another molecule. Cl will leave like this. Carbon will get a positive charge. So CH3, CH2 minus will attack carbon having positive charge. So this CH2 will bond to this CH2, so that you will get butane, right? So this is how you can convert any alkyl halide to alkane. Nucleophile does not mean gain or loss of electron. Nucleophile are negatively charged species. The definition is any negatively charged species which attack carbon having positive charge is known as nucleophile, right? That is a simple definition. For example, if you say OH minus, you take methyl chloride. In methyl chloride, due to minus I effect, delta minus, carbon has delta plus. So OH minus will attack this carbon having delta plus. So OH minus is acting as nucleophile, right? So nucleophile is electron-rich species. Nucleophile is electron-rich species which can attack carbon having delta plus charge, right? Nucleophile is nothing like addition. There is no oxidation, no reduction here. Addition of electron or loss of electron, right? Benzene is also a nucleophile. Benzene can also act as a nucleophile. All right. Kiran, which long process? Yes, Wood's reaction would have been better. I'm just telling you how to apply Corey-House synthesis. All right. Now using Grignard reagent. What is Grignard reagent and how do we form Grignard reagent? You treat alkyl halide with magnesium in dry ether. It is an insertion type of reaction. What happens? Magnesium gets inserted between alkyl and halogen and you'll get RMgX. So Mg again gets positive charge. This gets negative charge. This is a special reagent because R and Mg bond is a kind of polar covalent bond. It's a kind of polar covalent bond. You must have studied it in chemical bonding. Whereas MgX bond is your ionic bond. Right? R-Mg bond is polar covalent bond. MgX bond is known as ionic bond. So this whole together is known as, yes, it's Anushri, I have not even 3% idea about your doubt, whatever I'm teaching now is about alkanes only. Right? Nucleophile, whatever I defined was a general definition. So what you are trying to ask, please ask clearly. I'm not able to understand what you are exactly asking. Right? So now, if you see this, polar covalent bond, again, Grignard reagent also has the same function as I told you. It can give you R minus. Now, R minus, as I told you, can act as a nucleophile and give nucleophilic substitution reaction, or R minus can act as a base. When R minus will act as a base, when you treat it with any species which can give H plus ion. That means if you treat it with acidic species, R minus will act as a base. If you treat it with some species which has carbon having delta plus charge, for example, if you take RCO, R. Now in this, among carbon oxygen, if you break this bond like this, carbon will get a positive charge. So your R minus in this case will attack carbon having positive charge. So then in this case, it is doing what? It is acting as nucleophile, right? But if you treat it with, let's say, carboxylic acid, RCOH, what will carboxylic acid do? It will give H plus. That H plus will be taken by R minus. So now R minus is accepting H plus. So it is acting as what? Base. So what I'm trying to say is R minus can act as base or nucleophile. What is the function of base? To accept H plus. What is the function of nucleophile? To attack any carbon or to bond to any carbon which has positive charge, right? No, it's not for alkanes. It is a general classification, right? But since we have not done the reaction mechanism, so I'm not touching much detail. I'm just giving you brief idea about it here. Now, what are the compounds? Now, see here, if you treat it with Grignard reagent gives R minus. If you treat it with any species which can give H plus ion, RH is what? Alkane. That means if you want to form alkane from Grignard reagent, you need to treat it with any species which has H plus ion. Now, what are those H plus ion containing species? I will give you the examples. So RMGX on treatment with, see carefully, I'm going to write HOH, HOR, matlab alcohol, HO phenyl, that means phenol. Then you can write it as HNH2, ammonia. You can write it as HNR2, secondary amine. You can write it as HNHR, tertiary and secondary and primary amine. Then you can write HCl, hydrochloric acid, carboxylic acid, COOH. Then you can also write alkynes are also acidic in nature, right? Then you can also write alkynes are acidic. Then you can also write, we have discussed it in tautomers, that active methylene group, this group is also very acidic. So if you treat your Grignard reagent with any of these compound, right, all of these compound contains H plus ion. All of them have tendency to give H plus ion. So they will give H plus ion. Grignard reagent will give you R minus. So R minus will combine with H plus to form RH. That is your alkane. So any of these compound when treated with Grignard reagent will give you alkanes, right? Right? So I'll repeat it again. Grignard reagent has tendency to give you R minus ion, right? R minus has two roles. Either R minus can act as a base. What is a base? Base is something which accept H plus ion, or R minus will act as a nucleophile. Now, please write it in your head, write it in your notebook. Definition of nucleophile is that it will attack and bond to that carbon which has delta plus charge. Nucleophile binds to that carbon, binds to carbon having delta plus or plus charge. That is the definition of nucleophile. It is not necessary only one molecule can be there. Any molecule can come. If carbon has delta plus charge, R minus will act as nucleophile. Where is the R minus coming from? Grignard reagent, right? For example, I had given you, if you take ketones, in ketones, if you break this bond, this carbon will get positive charge. Now, since this carbon has positive charge, R minus can attack this carbon. So here R minus is attacking carbon having positive charge. So it is acting as nucleophile. So it is acting as nucleophile. But if you treat it with some acidic compound like HCl, carboxylic acid, so they will give H plus ion. That H plus will combine with R minus to form RH. So here R minus is accepting H plus, so therefore it is acting as base. So I told you Grignard reagent only has two roles, right? It will give R minus, which can either act nucleophile or it can act as base, right? It will act as a base with acidic compound. It will act as nucleophile with compound having positive charge carbon, right? Now I have written it here. You can note it down. Take a screenshot or note it down. I hope, Anushree, it is clear now. Gopal Krishna is asking, it is HCOH or RCOH? It is RCOH, Gopal Krishna. It is RCOOH, carboxylic acids. Or Shreya, you can take a screenshot or note it down, whatever. So this is the role of Grignard reagent. Grignard reagent is very important in organic chemistry. So Grignard reagent, when you treat it, I'm summarizing, when you treat it with any of these compounds, all these compounds are acidic compound. That means they can give H plus ion. So if you treat Grignard reagent with any of these compounds, Grignard reagent will give you RH. That is alkane. I hope it is clear now. Let's move ahead. Yes, any doubt till now? Anyone? Anyone having any doubt till now? I'll move ahead with the next reaction. Yes, any doubt? Anyone? All right. Now see this question carefully. Right? CH3, CH2, Br. Right? When treated with first magnesium ether, dry ether, then second it was treated with water, right? Then the second reaction is if it is treated with, all right, I'll take the different alkyl halide, 1 minute. Let me take a different alkyl halide. So alkyl halide I'm choosing here is CH3, CH, Cl, CH2, CH3. So this alkyl halide, first you have treated it with this, right? Then it gives you a product A, right? And then if you treat it with magnesium dry ether, and second you treat it with D2O, you get product B. Question is, which of the following will give chiral product? Which of the following will give chiral product? So I have the options A, B, third option is none of the above. And this is C option. D option is both A and B. You can start solving. Which of the following reaction will give chiral product? A or B? Which of the following will give a chiral product? Which of the following will give a chiral product? A or B? I hope you understand the definition of chiral. So draw the product of both and check. It does matter, Shreyas, if it is dry or not. I have told last class also why we use dry ether. D2O. Monisha, what is D2O? If you replace hydrogen by deuterium, heavy isotope of hydrogen. Deuterium is the isotope of hydrogen. This should be understandable. Heavy water, exactly. In hydrogen chapter, you must have studied about it. All right, we are going to end it now. It's not that difficult question also. So please vote fast. We are ending it on a count of 3, 2, 1, now. It's a very easy question, students. So same process. You'll get Grignard reagent first. In both the cases, first you are forming Grignard reagent. So your Grignard reagent here will be CH MgCl on this carbon. So as I told, Grignard reagent will give you R minus. So what is your R minus? CH3 CH minus CH2 CH3. Now this R minus, when combines with water, so water will give H plus ion, and it will take C minus will take H plus to form CH3 CH2 CH2 CH3. Now you can check this carbon is not chiral, 3 hydrogen same, not chiral, not chiral, not chiral. So there is no chiral carbon in this molecule. When you check, when you do the same thing with D2O, so this carbon will not take H plus now, it will take D plus. So your product obtained will be CH3CH, here D will come, here CH2CH3. Now this carbon is chiral. Why it is chiral? Because it contains hydrogen, deuterium, ethyl, methyl. So all 4 different groups. So this carbon is chiral in nature, right? So it's a chiral carbon. So product B will be chiral, right? So that is why it is important to write the product. These kind of questions you can expect. Rahul S, what I have done is I have formed first the Grignard reagent with this compound. I got MgCl here. Then that gave you R minus. Then R minus is first treated with H2O. So you'll get H plus here. So if you get H plus on this carbon, you'll get CH2. D2O will give D plus. So on this carbon, if you get D, you'll get D here. So you can check this carbon CH3 is not chiral, CH2 is also not chiral, CH2 is also not chiral, CH3 is also not chiral. Chiral definition is 4 different groups. So this carbon has 3 same hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen. So it has same groups. Whereas this carbon is chiral in the second molecule because it has hydrogen, deuterium, ethyl, and it has methyl. So 4 different groups are ethyl, methyl, hydrogen, and deuterium. So it has 4 different groups. Therefore, it is chiral. I hope it is clear now, Rahul. All right. Let's move ahead with the next preparation. And the next preparation method is reaction, or you can say reduction using metals. So first we have prepared from alkyl halides. Preparation is done. This is third method of preparation. That is reduction with metals. So I'm writing all possible reagents here. If you reduce it with metals, or simply reduction of alkyl halides will also give you alkanes. Let us see what all reagents you can use. If you take Rx and treat it with the following reagents, you can use sodium in ethanol, you can use zinc in HCl, you can use zinc in copper ethanol, or you can use LiAlH4, lithium aluminum hydride, NaBH4. You must have studied these compounds in P block, right? Boron chemistry. H plus, Hi in red phosphorus. So all these compounds on reduction will give you RH, right? They will replace your, basically it's simple reduction reaction, right? Addition of hydrogen. So you are adding hydrogen. So we are simply saying it is reduction reaction. Ravi Kiran, nucleophilic character question you should not get because it is not there in any of the hydrocarbon reactions, right? But I have already given you one example where ketone pe RMGX had attacked. So if RMGX reacts with ketones, you'll get tertiary alcohols. I've already done one example of that, right? So I'm going to do only those reactions which are there in hydrocarbons now. If I start doing those reactions also, it will kind of confuse you, right? So remember this is very, very important. So in this, majorly used one is LiAlH4, right? This is very strong reducing agent. It's a strong reducing agent, right? It gives, basically it gives you H minus ion, right? And as I told you, it's a kind of nucleophile. H minus will act as a nucleophile and substitute your halogen. So X will go as X minus, R will get positive charge, and H minus will attack your R plus to form RH. Now, how do you get H minus? You should be able to answer this if you have studied T block. LiAlH4 is a combination of Li plus and AlH4 minus. How is AlH4 minus formed? It is AlH3, like BS3, right? And H minus donates lone pair to aluminum. That is your AlH4 minus. So AlH4 minus can easily donate. First, it will dissociate to AlH3 and H minus. So therefore, AlH4 minus has a strong tendency to give you H minus ion, and H minus here will remove X and get added as H to give you alkane. So remember it. It is very, very important. For example, if you take CH3CH2Cl, treat it with LiLH4. So LiLH4 will give you H minus ion, which will Cl minus will leave, H minus will come inside, and you'll get ethane. So this is how the reaction happens, right? So remember it. It's again very important. So I told you LiLH4 is very strong reducing agent. On the other hand, NaBH4, again, it will give you Na plus and BH4 minus. BH4 minus is a compound formed by BH3 plus H minus. So it is also hydride transfer reagent. It can also give you H minus ion, right? But it is a weak reducing agent. Remember it, it is a weak reducing agent. Okay? It's a weak reducing agent. So that is the reason in your LiLH4, in LiLH4, primary reacts easily, primary alkyl halide, secondary also react easily, but tertiary alkyl halide gives alkene, right? Tertiary alkyl halide gives alkene, right? Whereas in NaBH4, primary alkyl halide gives no reaction, right? No reaction. Primary alkyl halides will not give any reaction, right? Secondary alkyl halide like CH3CH, CH3Cl will react to give you propane, CH3CH2, CH3. Tertiary will also easily react, CH3, CH3, Cl. This will also easily react to give you H here instead of Cl. But in LiLH4 with NaBH4, all these are possible. So NaBH4 has these three roles. But with LiLH4, tertiary alkyl halide will give alkene. Remember this? Remember this? It is very, very important. Yes, it is red phosphorus. Now, if you see this carefully, why it happens? Because how it happens? See Cl here, CH3 can be written as CH2H. So what happens is H minus is a very good base also, apart from nucleophile. Any nucleophile can act as a base also. So since H minus has a very big size, by the way, many of you might not be knowing, H minus is one of the very largest ion. It has very large size, H minus. It is larger than I minus also. So this bond will break like this, Cl minus, carbon gets positive charge. Now, if it has to act as a nucleophile, it has to attack this carbon having positive charge. But this carbon is having bulky methyl groups. So it cannot attack the carbon having positive charge easily. So it cannot act as a nucleophile. If it cannot act as a nucleophile, what it will do? It will take this H plus from this carbon. This bond will break like this. H plus will be taken by H minus to release H2 gas. CH2 will get a negative charge. Carbon is having a positive charge. Positive and negative will form a bond with each other. And you'll get CH3 here. This carbon has a positive. This carbon has a negative after losing H plus. So you'll get alkene. Right? So I hope you understood why tertiary alkyl halide will react to give alkene in case of LiAlH4, right? Because of the bulky size of H minus, and aluminum is also large, right? Whereas in NaBH4, it is a weak reducing agent. So H minus concentrations will not be so much. Boron size is also small. So therefore, it can give reduction of tertiary alkyl halide, whereas LiAlH4 cannot give reduction of tertiary alkyl halide. So this is very, 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 very important. I hope it is clear the difference between LiLH4 and NaBH4. These two are the important ones. Now, I am going to introduce one more reagent, that is TPH. TPH is known as triphenyl. It is known as triphenyl tin hydride. It is triphenyl tin hydride. Right? Now, why do we use this TPH, triphenyl tin hydride? So remember carefully, I told you here that LiAlH4 is very strong reducing agent. It can reduce other functional groups present in the compound apart from alkyl halide. Whereas TPH is highly specific for alkyl halide. It will reduce only alkyl halide, whereas LiLH4, NaBH4 can reduce other compounds also. For example, this is written as, there will be triphenyl, let's write tin hydride, right? This is a reagent. So let's take an example. If you have something like this, Cl, CH2, C double bond O, H, aldehyde and halogen is present in the same compound. So if you treat it with LiAlH4, it is a strong reducing agent. It will replace Cl by H and you'll get CH3. but at the same time, it will cause the reduction of LiAlH4 also. Sorry, aldehyde also. Reduction means addition of hydrogen. So break the pi bond and add hydrogen. So you'll get H here, H here, H here. So what you got here? CH3, CH2, OH. So basically, if you treat it with LiLH4, you'll get ethanol. That means it will reduce both aldehyde as well as halogen. If you want aldehyde not to reduce, only halogen to reduce, then you will add triphenyl tinhydride, because triphenyl tinhydride will replace H by Cl, Cl by H, but it will not touch your aldehyde. Therefore, it is very, 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 very important. All right. So I'm summarizing it again. Reduction with metals. All these examples which I have written are the catalyst you can use. Important ones are LiLH4 and NaBH4. It is given in your textbooks also. LiH4 is a very strong reducing agent. If it is a very strong reducing agent, it will give H minus ion, which will act as a nucleophile and substitute X to give you RH. It can give reduction of primary alkyl halide, secondary alkyl halide, but not tertiary alkyl halide. Tertiary alkyl halide will give alkene, not alkane. I have given the mechanism here because H minus cannot attack this carbon because there is a lot of steric hindrance on this carbon. And H minus is a big size. So therefore, it will take H plus from the next carbon, negative and positive will form a double bond. So you'll get alkene. NaBH4 cannot reduce primary, but can reduce secondary and tertiary, right? And then which reagent is only for alkyl halides? That is triphenyl tinhydride. It's very, very important. So please note it carefully. I hope it is done. Gayatri, is it done? You have noted, Gayatri? Yes, Gayatri, is it done? Gayatri, what did you want it, by the way? All right. TPH, Anushri, I have explained already. I am going to repeat it same. TPH, triphenyl tinhydride, is a reagent. I have written highly specific for alkyl halide. It will reduce only alkyl halide to alkane. It will convert only alkyl halide to alkane. It will not touch any other functional group. That is all you need to know about alkyl halide. So when you treat it with triphenyl hydride, right? Your alkyl halide has been converted into alkane part. That means Cl has been replaced by H. You can write it as H. But aldehyde is as it is, no change in aldehyde. But LiLH4 can reduce both aldehyde as well as alkyl halide. So therefore, wherever you have more than one functional group, but you want to reduce only alkyl halide to alkane, then you use TPH, triphenyl tinhydride, right? Ravi Kiran, NaBH4 will also give you the same product. NaBH4 can also react and convert your aldehyde to alcohol. NaBH4 can also do this, right? When I'm not giving you this, because we are not studying oxidation reduction in detail now, right? Not only this, there are H2 nickel, right? There are many other reducing agents we need to study. So that's why I'm giving you only limited examples which belong here. If you want, I can give you Pura Organic Chemistry से 20 reducing agents, but it's not used here. Plus, we'll never be able to finish this hydrocarbons part if we do that. So don't kind of ask why not NaBH4, because you don't know the rule of NaBH4. NaBH4 does not reduce only alkyl halide. LiLH4 reduces everything. It reduces acid also, it reduces ester also, it reduces everything. But what we have studied about LiLH4 is only alkyl halide. So do you want me to discuss every application of LiLH4 here? No, because that is not required now. We are studying alkanes, right? So I'm not going to discuss every application of LiLH4 here. All right, let's move to the next preparation, that is from alcohols. How to prepare from alcohols. This is the next preparation. How to prepare from alcohols. This is our, I think, fourth one. So alcohols, you can prepare by treating alcohols ROH when you treat it with HI in red phosphorus. You'll get RH, right? Very, very important. You'll get RH. For example, if you take ethanol in HI red phosphorus, you'll get ethane. For oxidation reduction reaction, mechanisms are not that important, so we are not going to go into details of mechanisms here, right? Now, next method is from decarboxylation reaction. This is important. From decarboxylation reaction. How can you prepare alkanes from decarboxylation reaction? Right? Now, decarboxylation reaction, if you see carefully, it is RCOH when treated with NaOH in the presence of calcium oxide, right? You will get RH plus CO2. CO2 gas will be released. Important thing here is if you have N carbon here, let's say 2 carbon, your alkane will always have N minus 1 carbon. That means if you take 2 carbon carboxylic acid, your alkane will have 1 carbon. That means ethanoic acid will give you methane, propanoic acid will give you ethane, right? Now, if you see this, this is also easy. First, acid plus base gives you salt, RCO minus, Na plus. So then water is also released. So what happens is O minus, carbon should be positive. So this bond should break like this. So you'll get R minus. R minus means carbanion is formed as intermediate. In this reaction, carbanion is formed. Right? In this reaction, carbanion is formed. Right? Now, if you see this carefully, this R minus will take H plus from water and give you RH. This R minus will take H plus from water and you will get RH. This is how the mechanism operates. Now, the question which can come is, which is more reactive? So reactivity will be directly proportional to stability of carbanion. And all of us have studied stability of carbanion is directly proportional to minus R and minus I effect. So this is very, very important. So which of the following will react faster, right? That can be the question. For example, if I give you two compounds, let's say benzoic acid, not exactly this, not this, let's take some other acid. Yeah. Let's take, if you have something like this, COOH, 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 right? These are the three compounds given to you. Question is, among which will decarboxylate fastest? Which will decarboxylate fastest? Which will react fastest, right? This is, let's say, 1, 2, 3. So options are 1, 2, 3. D is none of the above, right? So which of the following will decarboxylate fastest? Chetna, check your answer again. Chetna, check your answer again. Which of the following will react fastest? So those who want to refer the mechanism can refer here. All right, we'll end this on a count of 3, 2, 1. Now. Yes, Ashutosh, you can do that. All right, many of you have answered it correctly also. So see carefully, I have told in the mechanism that first acid and base will combine with each other to form salt. Now students, we are assuming that GOC has been done. So basics of GOC should be known to you. Arrows, bond movements, everything should be known to you, right? So if this oxygen is negatively charged, next carbon should be positive. Therefore, this bond break like this, and R minus is formed. Carbon gets positive charge, positive negative double bond. So CO2 is eliminated, right? Now this R minus will take H plus from water to give you RH. This is the mechanism. Now rate of reaction I told you will be more if your carbanion stability is more. So reactivity is directly proportional to stability of carbanion. So as soon as you get that, first form carbanion. So what is the carbanion you'll get from here? Carbon positive. So here you'll get this carbanion. In this case, you'll get this carbanion. In this case, you'll get this carbanion. This carbanion which you get, let me write it here, is this carbanion. And in this case, you will get this carbanion. So this carbanion is stabilized by resonance, right? It is stabilized by resonance, right? And how many resonating structures you are going to get? 3. So it is stabilized by 3 resonating structure. Here you can do the resonance of this also. It is stabilized by how many resonating structures? 2 resonating structures. In this case, there is no resonance stabilization. So which carbanion is most stable? B. So the correct answer is B, right? So B is the most stable carbanion. So B will react fastest. So many of you have answered it correctly also. All right. Now let's take the next preparation method. That is, any doubts in decarboxylation? Anyone please ask. Any doubts in decarboxylation or till decarboxylation, please ask. I'm giving you a window of 1 minute. You can ask whatever doubts you have. After that, I'll take other methods. Any doubts till decarboxylation? Anyone, please ask. I'll go ahead with the next reaction then. Here R is an alkyl group, Naren. I'll take more examples. Explain fourth method. This mechanism I'm not going to discuss for this, right? So we are not going to discuss. One of the possibilities, ROH reacts with HI to give you water plus RI, right? Then RI is further reduced to RH. I'm not going to explain it in detail. Role of calcium oxide. Calcium oxide basically here controls the temperature, right? Basically calcium oxide here controls the temperature, and sodium hydroxide is hygroscopic, right? Sodium hydroxide which you are using here, pellets of sodium hydroxide, they are hygroscopic. They absorb moisture from air. So calcium oxide also act as dehydrating agent. It is dehydrating agent, DA, dehydrating agent, right? Because NaOH is hygroscopic, it absorbs moisture. So calcium oxide is dehydrating agent, or you can say it mediates temperature of the reaction, right? All right. Next, decarboxylation, there is one special case, that is beta keto acid, right? If you take beta keto acid undergo decarboxylation like this without sodium hydroxide and calcium oxide. On simple heating, it can undergo decarboxylation. On simple heating, it can undergo decarboxylation. No sodium hydroxide or calcium oxide is required. So beta keto acid on simple heating give decarboxylation. Rate of decarboxylation is very, very fast. Why? Because if you form its anion, now you should know COH, next carbon is alpha, next carbon is beta. Beta pe you have keto group. So you'll get this carbon ion, and you see this carbon ion is stabilized by resonance. So why beta keto acid undergo decarboxylation very fast? Because the carbon ion is stabilized by resonance. So if you decarboxylate it, CO2 will be eliminated and you will get H, cyclohexanone. You'll get H here, cyclohexanone. So beta keto acid, I'm telling again and again, do not require sodium hydroxide or calcium oxide for decarboxylation, right? So remember it carefully. This is very, very important, right? Fine. Now, you can also take this reaction is also example of that beta keto type. If you take COH and COH like this, and you heat it, one of the CO2 will be eliminated because the negative charge here will again be stabilized with CO resonance, so that you'll get COH left. So if you heat, one of the COH will be eliminated as CO2, right? Now, Kolbe's electrolysis. Kolbe's electrolysis. Right? What is Kolbe's electrolysis? Let's see that. If you take RCOOH and treat it with KOH, you'll get a potassium salt, RCOO minus K plus. Now we are going to carry out the electrolysis of this. Electrolysis means there will be cathode, there will be anode, and all of us know cathode is negatively charged, anode is positively charged, right? So cathode is negatively charged, anode is positively charged. So among this, K plus will go to, now one more thing, if you take its aqueous solution, right? If you take its aqueous solution, you can take sodium hydroxide also. Any of these two you can take. You can take sodium hydroxide. If you take sodium hydroxide, so if it is aqueous solution, there will be H plus and OH minus also. So You study it in second year. The tendency of H plus to migrate to cathode is more than Na plus. You study it in second year. Why? So H plus will go to cathode and liberate H2 gas. By which reaction? This is a reduction reaction. Cathode always show reduction reaction. Anode pe you have always oxidation. So anode is positively charged. Who will go to anode? Your anion. So your anion RCO minus 2 moles. RCO minus. O minus means it has extra electron. So it will lose its extra electron to form free radicals, neutral free radicals. If this oxygen is free radical, carbon should also be free radical. Therefore, this bond will undergo homolytic cleavage, right? And carbon will get a radical, radical will form a bond. So CO2 will be again eliminated at anode. You'll get R radical. You have 2 moles. So you'll get 2 R radical, which will couple with each other, combine with each other to form RR. What is that? RR is your alkane. So this is how Kolbe's electrolysis proceeds to give you alkanes. Right? Remember which gas is formed at cathode in Kolbe electrolysis? H2 gas. And which gas is formed at anode? CO2 gas. Remember this. CO2 gas is liberated at anode. H2 gas is liberated at cathode. Let's take some more examples of Kolbe's electrolysis. If you take dioic acid, CH2COH, its salt will be CH2CO minus, CH2CO minus. Now, it will lose electron to form diradical. What is the radical you will get? O radical. O radical. Right? Now it is Chandrasekhar. In mechanism, what will happen is you will get anion and cation. Cation will go to cathode because cathode is negatively charged. Anion will go to anode because anode is positively charged. Now in anion you have RCO minus. Minus charge means extra electron. So anode always undergo oxidation. So O minus will lose electron to become neutral, and neutral species are free radicals. If this oxygen is free radical, carbon should also try to become free radical. Therefore, this bond will undergo homolytic cleavage. So this carbon will get free radical. Free radical and free radical will combine to form a bond so that CO2 is eliminated. Now you get a R radical and R radical, 2 R radicals. Both will combine with each other to form RR. That is alkanes. So you'll get alkanes. I hope it is clear now, Chandrasekhar. Now same thing I'm doing here. So I've taken acid, its anion at anode. The both of the O minus will lose electron to form 2 O radicals. This oxygen is radical, carbon should also become radical. Therefore, the bond will undergo homolytic cleavage. Same thing here. So what you'll get is CH2 radical combining with CH2 radical to give you alkene, ethene. This will come in this thing. What do we say? In preparation of alkenes also it will come, right? So understand it here only. There I will just write the reaction. So there is a homework for you. Try to draw Kolbe's electrolysis product for these 2 acids. Try to draw Kolbe's electrolysis product for these 2 acids by writing their mechanism. Without writing their mechanism, you will not get the right answer. So write the Kolbe electrolysis product for these 2. We are done with the preparation of alkanes. We'll quickly discuss physical properties. Very less of it is there. We have to discuss only few physical properties. First physical property is its physical state. So if you talk about alkanes from C1 to C4, up to 4 carbon alkanes, If you talk up to 4 carbon alkanes, right, they act as gas, exist as gas. C5 to C17, they exist as liquid, whereas C18 and above exist as solid. This is their physical state. Second property is solubility. Solubility, right? So if you talk about solubility, alkanes are non-polar. Alkanes are non-polar, therefore insoluble in water. Therefore insoluble in water. So alkanes are non-polar, therefore insoluble in water. Not only that, solubility decreases with increase in number of carbon atoms. That means ethane will be less soluble than methane, propane will be less soluble than ethane, and so on, right? Now, third property is density, right? So if you talk about density, density also increases. Density is, I'll write density directly proportional to molecular weight. So simply I can write propane, C3H8 has more density than ethane, which has more density than methane. So down a homologous series, density increases. So density increases in homologous series. Homologous series. Now the most important one, where you'll get questions from, is boiling point. Boiling point. You'll get most of the questions from here. So I'll tell you a few things here. Boiling point is always directly proportional to, let me write it here. Boiling point is directly proportional to intermolecular force of attraction. Stronger is the intermolecular force of attraction, and which force of attraction exists in alkanes? Usually van der Waals force, right? Van der Waals force. And van der Waals force is directly proportional to molecular mass. It is directly proportional to molecular mass, right? And boiling point is also inversely proportional to branching. So let me repeat, boiling point will be more if intermolecular force of attraction will be more. And which intermolecular force of attraction is present in alkanes? Van der Waals force. Van der Waals force is directly proportional to molecular mass, or you can say surface area also, right? And boiling point is inversely proportional to branching. Let me take some examples. If I take CH3, CH2, CH3, propane, and CH3, CH2, CH2, CH3, butane. So among these two, which will have more boiling point, propane or butane? Butane. Why butane? Because its molecular mass is more. You can calculate its molecular mass is more. It is C4H10. It is C3H6. You can calculate, it will come out to be 42, I think, 42 gram. And this will come out to be 58 gram, right? So therefore, more is molecular mass, more is boiling point. Why? Because molecular mass is more means van der Waals force will be more, right? Now, second example is if you take pentane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is N-pentane. If you take its chain isomers, 2-methyl butane and neopentane, right? This is your neopentane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This is your isopentane. Now in this, you can see here, with branching, boiling point will decrease. So order is this. But why with branching boiling point decrease? Because you can see here surface area here is more, and with branching surface area is decreasing. So I will write with branching surface area decreases, therefore boiling point increases. Right? So in this case, I have given both the examples. One is for molecular mass and other is for branching. So with branching, boiling point decreases and this thing increases. With the molecular mass, boiling point increases. Right? I hope it is clear. If you talk about melting point, only one thing you have to remember in melting point is alkanes with even carbon will have more melting point with than alkanes with odd carbon, right? Why? Because they are symmetrical. Alkanes with even carbons are symmetrical. You'll study in second year, therefore their packing is strong. Packing is strong means intermolecular force between them will be strong. So therefore, alkanes with even carbon will have more boiling point than alkanes with odd carbon. The reason is quite simple. They are symmetrical, they are identical. So the intermolecular force of attraction between them will be strong. That is the reason. Right now it's difficult to tell you what is packing. Packing you will study in second year. Yes, that's all. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the next 3 minutes. That's all for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask in specific. That's all. You can leave. Your next class will be at 5:30. Thank you all. Ashutosh, yesterday's class notes is already uploaded on Drive. Please check. Thank you, Mohit. Ashutosh, yesterday class notes are uploaded on Drive. Yes, Sadesh. Thank you, Bhumika. Thank you, Chandrasekhar. Surface area decreases, boiling point decreases. Because when surface area decreases, van der Waals force will decrease. Surface area decreases, van der Waals force decreases, therefore boiling point will decrease, Ganesh. Praveen, May first week. Shreyas, I'm not going to discuss nucleophilicity and electrophilicity at this point of time because if I start doing it, I can't finish hydrocarbons. We are already lagging in syllabus, so otherwise I would have taught Pura reaction mechanism if I had time. So since we don't have time, so we can't do it now, Shreyas. Ganesh, where I have written wrong? Ganesh, is this correct? No. Ganesh, surface area decreases, boiling point decreases. It is correct only. No, Chetra, it was not for you. Yes, Ronish, in branching molecular mass remains same. There, see, Shreyas, it's not like I can tell you in 1 minute how to solve question on nucleophilicity and electrophilicity. There are 4 or 5 rules to determine nucleophilic character. There are 2 to 3 rules to determine electrophilic character. How can you explain? I explain you in 1 minute to determine the order. It is not like magic, right? It requires at least half a class to do that. So this was our first page. Gokul. Shreyas, it will be done in alkyl halides. In alkyl halides, you have substitution reaction, you have elimination reactions. So nucleophilic character will be done in substitution reaction. Basic character, leaving group character will be done in elimination reaction. In nucleophilic addition reaction, you will discuss electrophilic character. So here at this point, I'm sorry, we are short of time. I can't explain that. If you personally want to learn something, I will definitely help. In class, it is difficult to do that. Gokul, this was simple. Just replace in Woods reaction, sodium was replaced by zinc. That is the only difference. Just replace sodium by zinc. R and R dash will combine to form alkane. This is same as Woods reaction. Just instead of sodium, you're using zinc. That was the difference. You can prepare odd carbon alkane as well as even carbon alkane. Whereas in Woods reaction, you were preparing only even carbon alkane. You can use primary, secondary, tertiary. All alkyl halides can be used. All alkyl halides can be used. But in Woods reaction, tertiary alkyl halides cannot be used. That was the major difference we studied here, Gokul. Chandan, today's topic was not hard. Today's class was fast. So topic was not hard. Today's class was fast. If we don't increase the pace of the class, we'll never be able to finish this syllabus. So the reason of doing slow GOC was so that you guys can understand and increase your pace in hydrocarbons. So class was not hard. It was just a fast class. And still I have not taught whatever I thought of finishing today. I thought of finishing chemical properties also today, but it could not be finished. So now you can understand how much we are lagging in syllabus. All right. Anyways, we'll try to finish in tomorrow's class. Let's see. All right. Thank you, students. Thank you for joining in. If you have any other doubts, you can message us. We'll definitely help you out. Yes. Thank you all.